So Jalen Hurts, there were a lot of talks about whether or not he'll get his extension this year or wait for his fifth-year option next year. Well, he signed a record-breaking deal. Jalen Hurts signed a 5-year, $255 million extension, $51 million per year on average, with $179.3 million guaranteed. I think he also has like a $20 million signing bonus as well. So,
crazy money.
Just made it to a Super Bowl. Had a chance to win it. It was one of the higher scoring Super Bowls.
He had better play.
The better quarterback in that Super Bowl. Yeah. So do you think, was this a smart idea to give Jalen Hurts this record-breaking contract?
Well, I guess that's what the market is these days. I do think, he got a big contract. It's the richest one, but the guaranteed money is not what Deshaun Watson got.
Right.
And I think that's a realistic guarantee. That's really the Deshaun Watson deal is outside the parameters of normalcy, right? None of this is normal, really. It's all breathtaking, the size of the money these guys are getting, right? And given how rough and violent the game is and how often people get hurt, to think that somebody gets a 5-year, $255 million contract and they're going to walk away with $179 million no matter what happens. It's amazing. It really is. It just shows how much money is involved in professional football these days and how important it is to the American society. Right? Yeah. But I do think it sets a standard that's more realistic. If you can say $255 million for 5 years and almost $180 million is guaranteed. If that's realistic, that Lamar is just another nail in his contract coffin. I think. I think it just says another reason why he's not going to get what he's asking for.
Well, so people did the math on like the value of the contract, and there were questions about Lamar and his contract because we talked about it. About his, what was it, $133 million for 3 years, but there were other incentives. There was an injury guarantee that brought up to $175, and then a springing guarantee, which brought up to $200 million. We actually have that breakdown right here. This is the breakdown of Jalen Hurts versus Lamar Jackson. I'm not sure where the total value of $250 million came in, but that is basically the same type, at least money-wise, from Jalen Hurts to Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson didn't want to sign that deal. Jalen Hurts was perfectly fine with signing this deal, which is a little weird about how the situation's turning out. Because we talked about the $200 million fully guaranteed, supposedly, if you include all the rest of the guarantees. But it looks like, Jalen Hurts without those other guarantees, because there were actual guarantees for Jalen Hurts, and then there were some actual guarantees for Lamar, and then the injury guarantee, then the springing guarantee, which made it a weird situation, but
yeah, they wound up pretty much Hurts' contract, huh? Pretty similar.
It's very, very similar, which makes it seem like why didn't Lamar, when he got the opportunity, sign this deal?
You know what? If Hurts had gotten his deal first, maybe Lamar would have signed his.
Well, now Hurts got his deal, and now it's whether Lamar is going to sign it.
Yeah, I think that's Lamar, the big question. If Hurts' deal had come first, then maybe Lamar, and then Lamar got his offer, maybe he would have signed it. But unfortunately, Deshaun Watson's deal came first.
Right.
And that's the one that Lamar is using as his benchmark.
And now we've come to a situation where Lamar has now basically demanded the Ravens to say, go get Odell and DeAndre Hopkins. The Ravens are like, we can't afford both those players, so they just got OBJ and him. They also have to pay him. Although maybe he would have played on the non-exclusive tag then, if they got both the receivers, but now...
But that defeats his purpose.
He wants a long-term security at an insane amount of money as well.
I don't know what he's thinking.
So now, you know what? Jalen Hurts, of course, I think 100% he deserves...
He got a great contract. I think that's a great contract. He's how many years has he been in the league?
3 years? Last year, this was his third year, so he's going to his fourth year. Yeah. And he's improved every single year.
Yeah.
It's the same jump. I put this up months ago. The same jump Josh Allen made from his rookie year to his second year. Then he got Stephon Diggs, and once he got a number one receiver, the jump was insane. Now he's actually regressed slightly in some statistical categories, He wasn't able to get to the same level of playoff competition since the first year with Stephon Diggs. But Jalen Hurts has taken a huge leap. He's gone from 52% completion percentage to 61.3 to 66.5. His yards, it went from 1,004 games in his rookie year to 3,100 to 3,700. Touchdown to interception ratio, 6 to 4, 16 to 9, 22 to 6 this past year. That's throwing touchdowns and interceptions.
How about his rushing yards?
His rushing yards, I have that here as well. Went from it was a little bit less than his year 2. Went from 354 in those 4 games to 784 to 760 this past season. Jalen Hurts has been phenomenal, and we're talking about a guy who, for his first 2 years, people didn't even think if he was really that good. I didn't understand it myself, but people were saying, why do we have Jalen Hurts? We need to draft a quarterback. It just made no sense to me. Jalen Hurts comes out and in the Super Bowl against Mahomes, puts up insane numbers and has a chance to beat Mahomes. If it wasn't for a holding call, he would have had a chance. I mean, he's more than deserving of having this big deal, but then it brings up questions. What's Joe Burrow's contract going to look like? What's Justin Herbert's contract going to look like? What's Lamar maybe going to settle for? Maybe what will the Ravens offer him? Because apparently, technically, they already offered him up to $200 million guaranteed. What's the next step for Lamar and them? So, I like the Jalen Hurts.
I think Lamar should go sign his contract.
Do you think the Ravens will still give him that 133?
Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't.
Now they're saying no one's offering you nothing. Here's the thing. Maybe it'll pick up after the draft. Maybe that's what the situation's going to be. People are going to figure out, okay, if our guy's not there, if the Colts for some reason want Bryce Young or CJ Stroud and can't trade up for it 1 or 2 picks, what are they going to do? Are they going to settle with Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, or will they say, screw it, we'll go out and get Lamar?
Here's another thing. Some people may be thinking, do I really want Lamar Jackson? I appreciate his talent, his athleticism, what he's done in the NFL, MVP. But, is he somebody who's going to do something a little wacky with our team, in terms of his dissatisfaction with certain things?
Could be.
I mean, he comes across as unreasonable, right? And what he's asking for.
Right.
It's unreasonable.
I guess it's just his outlook. He's saying, well, I want this, and I'm going to get this no matter what, or else I'm going to make a big fuss about it.
He may wind up getting nothing.
He may have to settle with a franchise tag this year, or just not play and don't get paid.
Yeah.
Because now people look at it saying, well, the Ravens took a huge risk by letting the market dictate what you are. And let's just say no teams
I'd say they have the upper hand by a long shot now, particularly with this deal out there now.
Right. Like this technically I'll bring it up again. Technically based on the numbers, Lamar could have had a relatively similar deal, very, very similar deal than Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen Hurts...
And if Hurts' deal had been the benchmark, he probably would have signed it. And you know what? He probably would have got an extra $5 million to match it.
Maybe.
But, it would have been a deal.
But do you think Jalen Hurts is better than Lamar, though? Do you think Jalen Hurts is better than Lamar? Because we talked about this in the last show where I said...
No, I don't think he's better.
I think it's very, very close.
His first 3 years, I guess you could say, and again, football is a team sport, right? That maybe Hurts has been better in the playoffs because he did get to the Super Bowl, and Lamar has had trouble in the playoffs.
Right.
But Lamar is a special talent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm the hands down that I put him in the problem is when he's healthy, I put him in my top 3. I have Mahomes, Burrow, Lamar. And then from there, you could argue Trevor Lawrence, Justin. I honestly think Jalen Hurts is probably within my top 5, honestly, because Jalen Hurts, he could throw the ball pretty well. Plus his running ability, like you have to put that over. I mean, it's so hard to determine right now who's the best because you have to, I guess people are going to say, if you want to put in Lamar because he will be healthy, where would you put him? But I don't know, because like last season, Lamar came in and he was doing better numbers than his unanimous MVP year. And it was just middle of the season, he started to lose to like the Giants, and then he lost in that huge game against the Jaguars, the late game loss to the Jaguars. He just didn't look that great in the second half, and then he gets hurt in the pocket. It's just a situation of where do you want to put Lamar? I put him outside my top 10 going into last year because he wasn't healthy. How can I put a guy in my top 10 when he doesn't play, when he hasn't even finished the season?
Yeah.
So where's Lamar going to be placed here? And how's Lamar even going to play? He's got OBJ now, which should help him. Now, here's the big asterisk. If OBJ doesn't play like the Rams version of OBJ, people will say, "Oh, Lamar still has no receivers. OBJ is washed." Like, did we not? Like, I think that would be unfair for OBJ.
I think maybe
he was
the
almost
Ravens.
the Super Bowl MVP.
I'm a little surprised. Well, I guess the Ravens. Maybe they kind of went for it on the cheap. You know, I mean, you look at OBJ's contract. That's a very good contract for a guy who's had 2 ACLs.
Right.
Right. And he didn't play at all last year. Right. That's an excellent contract.
Oh, it's
but
phenomenal.
they would have had to pay a lot more for DeAndre Hopkins, and that probably would have been the better choice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And DeAndre Hopkins.
If OBJ can't perform like we're used to, you're right. They'll say Lamar still doesn't have any great receivers.
And I think that would be unfair.
And that may happen. I think Hopkins would have been the better bet on that in that regard.
But then you need to probably pay $10 to $12 million more per year.
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
It may be that may be the case, but you know Hopkins he started out missing 6 games due to the PED suspension. He comes in, he performs pretty well. I mean, he had to play with David Blau and Trace McSorley, and Colt McCoy, I believe, played. So, and by the way, I believe I saw today the Cardinals got Jeff Driscoll on a 1-year deal. So it looks like
Jeff Driscoll, who the hell's he?
He was on the Texans. He came in for Davis Mills a couple times. So depending on, like, I still understand, like, no one's talking about Kyler Murray being out at the beginning of the year, but I felt like that was common knowledge. So the Cardinals just going to go in and say, well, we're going to deal with what we got. Like they didn't go for Andy Dalton. They didn't go for, I know Baker Mayfield isn't good, but they didn't go for him. They didn't go for Jameis Winston. So my question is, what are they doing quarterback-wise? Are they just saying, screw it, we could win, we could lose, whatever? Are they like I brought up, intentionally tanking to get a better quarterback over Kyler Murray if they're not happy with him?
I don't think they're going to intentionally tank.
It's just a thought, but it's weird. But Jalen Hurts, hey.
I mean, they have a brand new coach, so
they do.
He's not going to want to have a 1-16 record on in his first inaugural year.
Well,
right?
I don't think Kyler Murray's going to win only 1 game or something like that. But
Murray's coming back when? November?
I think it's around November. Yeah, around Thanksgiving. So that's what, 8 games, 10 games.
Maybe they just don't want to create any kind of quarterback controversy. When Murray comes back, they'll be begging for him to come back and play instead of, hey, you know what? Maybe if he isn't fully recovered, so and so's doing well enough. Stick with them, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows what they're trying to do?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.